Jurgen, many congratulations. You're off to Wembley.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. It's a while ago, so it was time, pretty much, and we are really happy about it. The mood in the dressing room at the moment is, we are over the moon, obviously, because it was a difficult game for us. It's a difficult time, general, that we just have to get through this, and we try everything we can to do that. And what the boys made tonight against this really strong Arsenal side was absolutely exceptional. The start in both half times. So, like first half, Arsenal was really pretty lively. The crowd was there, stuff like this. Then we calmed it down, played good football, could really play in and around their formation, created, not plenty, but the quality of it's not so easy. Second half was pretty similar. And again, we scored 2 wonderful goals, I have to say. Wow, Diogo Jota on fire. But the passes were, and the first goal was super play, and the second one, I don't think a lot of people in the stadium saw Diogo in that position, but Trent saw it, which was helpful. And then he finished it off absolutely outstanding.
Obviously no Mane or Salah, so he needed to step up. And Keita, yeah, but in terms of your front three, he's really stepped up, hasn't he? How much has he progressed since he arrived at Anfield?
We were completely convinced when he arrived that he will help us massively. So many things, when you watch a player before you sign him, you have nowadays the opportunity to watch 100 games if you want, and we were really comfortable. But of course, since he's here again, he made another step, and it's absolutely helpful. It's just a really, he turned into a world-class striker meanwhile, and that's how said for us pretty helpful.
You enjoyed that VAR decision, didn't you? You celebrated wildly.
Yeah, after, but it was so it was really close, obviously. So for me, it was no offside, but when it's whistled, and it's armpit is enough. Diogo was very convinced that it's not offside, and he might know it the best. So in the end, I couldn't see it back yet, but it was no offside. And the whole bench told me already before, no, onside. So, of course, important goal in a good moment.
After the first leg, do you feel you had a little bit to prove? You knew there was an improvement here tonight?
No, we had nothing to prove. You have these 2 games, and you have to take the result from the first game. If we lose at home 1-0, does that mean we shall not arrive at Arsenal and try it? No, of course not. So we drew at home in a for us difficult game. I said at that time, we played not 20 times together in that formation, so you have to play against 10 men. Breaking a low block down is the most difficult thing in football. Today we did much better, but it's just it was 11-11. Arsenal had their own ideas, and so were not here just to defend. I think it's not possible in your own stadium. So it was clear the game will open up slightly, but we still had to score, and that's what we did.
I appreciate it's quite a few weeks away, but it'll be a first ever final, domestic final in England, with 2 German managers going head-to-head.
Sorry. Yeah. When is it exactly?
End of February.
End of February. So we have a little bit of time, plenty of games to play until then. I'm pretty sure the game will not be about the 2 German managers, about 2 really good football teams. But we wanted desperately to go to that final. Now it's Chelsea. Fine. Let's give it a try.
And we spoke to Trent as well. Your last trophy you won in the depths of COVID, no supporters. It wasn't probably as you wanted it. Now you go to Wembley and hopefully, from your point of view, will lift silverware in front of your supporters.
Yeah, but I don't think about celebrations or whatever. When we then start preparing the game, we think about how do we have to approach the game against Chelsea? So that's it. And I'm really happy for our supporters that they have the chance to go to Wembley and hopefully celebrate something. But how I said, between now and then, there's a lot of time to go. And I enjoyed our trophies without supporters a lot, to be honest. Because it was just so special. But yes, we all know with them it's really special. But there's a game to play before we think about celebrating.
Well done tonight.
Thank you very much.
At all going into this one for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool. And the Liverpool fans, of course, need not look any further than his record as a manager in semi-finals. Won 10 of the 11 that he's been involved in across Europe. He certainly is a man that you can trust in this most heated of battles. Another astonishing stat there as we were listening to the Liverpool manager. That first Wembley final since 2016 for Liverpool. And when you consider, Jamie, that they've climbed mountains in Europe and domestically with the Premier League, there seemed to be a real appreciation of what English football is about. That cup final at Wembley in front of your fans, and he seems genuinely excited about that.
Yeah,
doesn't
he's buzzing. And I can only imagine what that dressing room's like. And, you know, the fans are going to have a great trip to Wembley. It's what it's about. It's what the club's about. I said before the game, they're synonymous with winning trophies. The history of the club has always been with the captains lifting trophies throughout the years. So, you know, they're going to be looking forward to this one. Jordan Henderson have the 2 players back as well. Right now, that'd make them probably favourites because of that, but because Chelsea are having a little bit of a moment. But when, in a month's time, it can all change round. One of the other sides could have a few injuries. Chelsea might be a little bit fresher because they look a little bit tired at the moment. But it's certainly going to be a great final, and both teams are going to be going for it because of what Man City are achieving. They're running away with it to a certain extent. That's why this trophy is so important.
We spoke about Diogo Jota at length. Obviously, he scores 2 goals, but a man that was such a huge part of that, of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold. When you watch a player like this in his pomp, Paul, it's sometimes hard, isn't it? Because you run out of wonderfully nice adjectives to describe him, don't you?
Yeah, he's phenomenal. People say, oh, he can't defend. Why do you have to defend? I mean, when you go forward like he does, I mean, he's just absolutely phenomenal. To put up the figures of the assists that he gets, it's just mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, some of his balls he plays, the weight of pass, that was a great ball in itself. I mean, it was a great ball. Everything he picks out, he composes himself when he gets in the box and never panics. Very rarely see him running down and gets to the touchline, panics and puts it behind the goal. And that ball, as Jamie said, that was David Beckham. If you'd have just had a look at his feet there and not looked at anything else, you'd have thought it was David Beckham. You know, every game he plays, it's virtually always first. I mean, can't talk highly enough of the lad. I really can't. And he's not even our England right back.
I think I'm right.
Says a lot, doesn't it?
We're blessed.
It's interesting you say that, Merce, because I think I'm right in saying that it was about this time last year when he got left out of the England squad. A lot of question marks about him, lost his form, and to a certain extent had to go back to the drawing board. Everyone was questioning his defensive, how he was improving. No Virgil van Dijk, that was obviously a huge loss and a disruption to that back four. But he's bounced back from it really quickly and so well. Like Merce said, unbelievable. And at times we always talk about the negatives in players, maybe defensively, but he realised he had a problem with Martinelli early in the game when he thought, right, I'm going to take you out the pitch into areas you don't want to go and I'm going to start to dominate you. And his passing ability and the way that he can just pick a player out, a couple of times getting into crosses. He never looks under duress when he's got the ball. Like when sometimes you see wingers get into and they try to smash it across the face of goal and hit the front man, he just goes, I'm going to clip it into an area where it's easy for you to come and finish. Just an incredible footballer and still so young.
So Jurgen Klopp beaming at the end. Mikel Arteta slightly more miserable, you feel. Here he is now with Guy Havard.
Mikel, obviously a very disappointing night. What are your thoughts?
Well, we are really disappointed not to be in that final, but we played against a top side. We had big moments in the first half. We had big moments in the second half. And when you have those moments, you have to score if you want to beat this opponent. Because the chances that they had the first half, they had nothing the first time they go through our press. With a bit of luck, they scored the first goal. And they didn't need anything else than to lose the ball in the wrong area after regaining the ball, which is a big thing against them. And with one pass, they are in front of goal. And when they are there, I'm sorry, but they put the game to bed.
Was that a big moment, that first goal, because you had started well? How do you explain it?
Nothing. Well, we tried to tackle. Tommy slips, he goes through. I think he mix-kicks the ball, and he goes the other way. So what can you do?
The other big moment, I suppose, was at the start of the second half. Lacazette unable to make it 1-1.
Yeah, we had that chance. We had that chance of Martinelli. They had the back pass that they had. We were there, and we were pushing for the game. We had corners. We had good situations. But we have to convert. You have to score the goal there if you want to beat a team like Liverpool.
Overall, though, do you think you did enough tonight?
Well, no, because we didn't score a goal, and we needed to score goals to go through. That's why we are out.
In terms of Thomas Partey, we know that he came at lunchtime. It was a gallant effort. Do you sort of regret now putting him on after what happened?
Well, I no regret that I cannot use him now, so it's what it is. He made the effort to come. We had to play him. Emil hasn't had one single training session. Martin as well. Laka had a yellow card. We had to make a decision, and we decided to use him, and unfortunately that happened.
Was the red card down to the fact that he had only arrived back in the country recently?
I don't think so.
It's 14 red cards now in your time. Is that a concern for you?
Yes. Well, we played the last 3 games with 10 men. When that's the case, at this level, it's extremely difficult to win football matches.
How do you eradicate it?
I keep trying to do it what we're doing, but I must say that there have been some decisions that when they've gone other way, it haven't happened, and today is a good example as well.
Is it fair to say that the players you selected were far from 100% tonight? And another day you
I'm
would
extremely
put that
proud
out?
of the boys and what they've done today, and especially how they approached the game, how committed they were to try to play, some of them without any training session, and still competed against this team the way they've done.
All the eggs are in one basket now. Top four, it probably has to be, doesn't it, to represent a good season? Do you feel that you can do it?
We start now the season again after the break we had because of the games against Burnley on Sunday in front of our fans, and we'll prepare the game to win it.
Can I ask you finally about a story that the FA are looking at a yellow card for one of your players in a game earlier this season amid irregular betting figures. Can you or Arsenal Football Club say anything about that?
That I'm aware of it is something really common, and there are always investigations in relation to certain things, and nothing else. Let's see what happens.
Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Into that particular issue with regards to Arsenal. Not a happy night, though, for Mikel Arteta. Very animated on the touchline. Frustration seems to be the overriding emotion there. But frustration as well, because we're talking about another Arsenal game, Paul, where they haven't finished the game with a full complement of men. Thomas Partey was the man that raced back from the AFCON to come and get himself on the pitch. Landed at midday today. Lasted 18 minutes on the pitch. Just over 3 minutes between the two yellow cards. Is there a fatigue in this? Is there a lack of this? I'm trying to mitigate for Partey.
Oh, definitely fatigue. I mean, that one, that's just a lazy tackle. It's been on a long flight. I mean, even if you're first class, it's still a long flight, and that's a lazy tackle. They're both just lazy, late tackles. I thought it was a big ask for him tonight. A big ask for him to come on. I mean, you know, the game was virtually finished. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to have a bit of game management about you. You know, sometimes there's got to be a little bit more common sense of I can't dive in there. You know what I mean? He's never getting the ball in a month of Sundays. He was never getting it. You know, he's got to drop off. But yeah, frustration.
I feel for him a little bit though.
I do.
I mean, it's hard enough having a night out, let alone playing football after a 12-hour flight.
Exactly, 12-hour flight. It is. But you know, when you're on the pitch, if your manager puts you on and you say you're all right, you got to make the right decisions. I mean, Arsenal are not a physical team.
No, that's
and they're blowing everybody away with the red cards.
I was going to say they're not a physical team. 14 red cards now since Mikel Arteta took over. 6 more than any other Premier League side in that time. So if they're not a physical side, what are they then if they get that many red cards?
Bad tacklers.
Ill-disciplined.
Yeah, bad.
They're not aggressive, they're just ill-disciplined.
Yeah, and they don't make the right decisions. It's game management. It's when to go, when not to go. You know, and today they're two tackles that you never ever get in the ball. They're just lazy. But I give them the benefit of the doubt. 12-hour flight, probably the manager should really weigh it up. You know, I didn't get the substitution anyway. You know, Partey for Smith Rowe. In my opinion, I mean, they're losing the game. I mean, Partey's not going to come on and get a brace, is he? You know, so for me, I shouldn't have put him on.
Only a brace of yellow cards, of course. Moving forward, I asked you before the game about where Arsenal's season is, given this was the only real understandable piece of silverware that we're going to go for. So what happens now? Is it absolutely all about getting into the top four?
100%.
And can they?
We get to a stage with Arsenal where we go, right, they're there, brilliant, it's great, this is great, the young players are playing well. You know, I watched them against Man City, I thought they were phenomenal. Honestly, they took it to Man City, and I thought they had Man City on the rack for a lot of that game. And then, in a New York minute, it's completely turned around on its head again. But as I said before, it's having a young squad. You've got young players, haven't got too much experience there. Like, one of their main players is Ben White. He's 23, 24, £50 million. It's not really a, Tony Adams or a Virgil van Dijk who's going to bring players in. There's no real major experience in the team. It's very young, and it's going to be up and down. If they get in the top four, they pulled up trees. I think that'll be a phenomenal season for Arsenal. The way the game's changed, you know, if you ask the board, come what may, whether they lifted that trophy or finished in the top four, they'll definitely take B.
We're not privy to how the players are in terms of, you know, he said they've had problems with injuries and COVID, hardly doing any training sessions. So it's sometimes difficult to analyse. But if you looked at the young players today, they look like almost nerves got the better of them. They didn't really. We spoke about Saka before the game. We spoke about Smith Rowe. Have been incredible, and so much pressure is on their shoulders to lead this team. Lacazette didn't do enough. Apart from hitting the crossbar in the first half, he didn't feel like he was ever really involved in the game. And Liverpool just looked more at ease and more comfortable, and you felt second half, the longer the game went on, Liverpool could even score 2 or 3 more goals. So they just looked a better team.
You've got to put in perspective, these young kids, they've got a chance of playing at Wembley in a cup final. There's going to be nerves. There is. It's all right, people go, they're international, they play for their country. They're playing for their club now. They're playing in front of their own support of 60,000. And they want to get to a cup final. For me, when they retire playing, they want to say they won medals. They want to won trophies, and it was an opportunity. And they got nervous tonight. I know it's a bit weird to say. They froze. I thought they froze.
Let's throw it forward to the final. 2 Germans going head to head, as Jurgen Klopp was beaming about. What kind of game do you expect, Jeremy?
I can't wait. It's going to be a great game. Two sides that are exciting to watch. A lot of big stars in play. As I said before, if you were to analyse it right now, it's almost quite difficult because Chelsea are having a bad moment. They're having a bad run. Lukaku's bang out of form. Chelsea can't seem to buy a win, but it can quickly change. They've got some quality players in that team. It just feels like it's got to get 1 or 2 back. And Liverpool and with the African Cup of Nations, how deep does Salah go into it? How deep does Mane go into the competition? How tired do they come back? But in terms of the game, I think we couldn't ask for it. It's a great final. Not Man City have dominated this trophy for so many years. To see 2 different teams there, great fan base. Chelsea will have their thousands, Liverpool as well. They'll come down in their droves. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And it's a German masterclass.
And hopefully we're going to get another entertaining game, as we've seen between the two so far this season already.
Oh, people say, this trophy, it's the third one. You got the league and then you got the FA Cup, and then this always turns out big finals, big teams in the final. 2 massive teams again. I can't wait come what the end of May. I mean, this will be a phenomenal game. If it's anything to go by the game at Stamford Bridge.
Are we going to see something like that when there is something at stake?
I think so. When you got two teams with special players, it's hard for defenders to stop these players playing. It is. It's hard, especially at Wembley on a big pitch, and it gets draining, and the nerves. When you get your top players playing, it's not a nice place to be a defender. It's not. You want to be a forward-thinking player when you get to a cup final. The game opens up. I can't wait. Again, you always get the big teams in the final. You always. People go, I rest players. I remember when it starts, the second round, they've rested 10. They've rested 10. They've rested everybody. Always the big boys in the final. Always. It just shows you how big a cup this is.